Alright guys, welcome to the channel. Today I am making Birria Tacos. This is a mixture of a family friend's recipe as well as one of the TikTok girls that I follow. So I kind of combined both of their recipes and then added a little bit of my own to it. And then this comes out really good. So if you don't like the way I make it, then don't cook it. This is how I make it. So I am starting off with, we got about 2 pounds of meat here, and I have 2.5, so we're about 4-ish pounds here. You can go as high as 8 and 10 pounds of meat, but we are not feeding a lot of people. We are feeding probably about 5 adults and a child, so this will be plenty. This also gives us leftovers for the next day too. So I'm gonna start by cutting up the meat, and then we're gonna sear it in this pan just a little bit before we start adding some of the ingredients. So I'm gonna do that next. Okay, so you wanna cut these in about, I don't know, 2-inch squares. And I do leave some of the fat on there just because it does give the flavor, so. No particular way to cut it, I just wanna cut some good chunks off of it. This is one of those pieces that just has a little bit too much fat for me. So I took some of that off. Not too much, just a little bit. And just cutting these up just makes it easier for us to break the meat apart later, really. Okay, I'm gonna cut the rest up and then I'll show you the pan here. Now, I cut my meat up and I'm putting it into the pot. So I'm just gonna simmer the meat for a little bit and then we're gonna add water to this next. So I'm just gonna stir this a little bit. You can hear it simmering. And so here's an example of where the meat's getting just a little brown. So I'm gonna start to add some water here. Right. So now that we've simmered this meat up a little bit, we're gonna go ahead and add our water. We're gonna be adding 10 cups of water. This is 8. And this is probably another 3 or 4. So see how it's just barely covering the meat? And then we're gonna do a whole head of garlic. All I did was just chop off the head. Okay, and then just some bay leaves. Solid. I do more because I just love seasoning, so there's probably about 5 in there. A half of an onion. So I'm gonna take this, cut this in half, and pop it in there. Okay, half an onion, toss. The other half of the onion I save later for my pepper mix. So we're gonna let this come to a boil. Probably for about 20-30 minutes or so. So this cacasitas that comes up on the top, you wanna actually scoop it off and take it out. So that's what I'm gonna be doing. While the meat is boiling, we have 1 chili serrano or serrano pepper, 3 Roma tomatoes, and that half of an onion. This is all gonna go into a pot of boiling water. Probably do about 15 of these, and I do about 10 of these. Apparently these are the ones that give it spice, but I sometimes will actually do about 2 chili serranos in there. We like ours spicy, but it's not like super duper spicy, but it has a kick. So I'm going to cut the stems off these and deseed them before I put them in. I'm just gonna show you guys really quick what I do for the peppers. So I use kitchen shears. It's a lot easier. Dump it on my board, and then I go in here and I slice them open as well. And then I kind of pop them open and get the seeds out this way as well. just do your best because it's gonna be strained anyways. So this is gonna go in the pot. I'll do one more for you guys. And then I will do this off camera so you don't have to be bored watching me cut up peppers for 20 minutes. That one was pretty empty. All right, so again, I'm just gonna continue this and then I'll show you what the pot looks like when I'm done with this. All right, so this is what the pan looks like with all my peppers deseeded. The tomatoes, onion. I'm going to turn my stove top up to high and I'm gonna add some water. This is about 5 or 6 cups. Really your goal is just to make sure that you have your peppers, all your ingredients covered. I'm gonna add enough water to cover these and then I'm gonna put it on the stove top and bring it to a boil. Once it starts boiling, you boil it for 10 minutes and then we're going to drain and blend, which of course I will show you. Don't wanna get too far ahead of myself here. There we go. So see how those ingredients are pretty much covered now? So. Put that on the stove. So our peppers are done boiling. So as you can see, the tomatoes split. And we're just gonna add all these little ingredients into our blender. It is okay if some of that juice gets in here because we will be adding juice back into the blender anyways. So. And then we're gonna add 2 cups of our pepper water into here. So I'm gonna get that over the sink. And then I have my pepper water, 2 cups. Now we're gonna start adding some seasonings. So we are gonna do a little bit of ground cinnamon, garlic powder, onion powder, oregano leaves, salt and pepper, and some chicken bouillon. There we go. I will put everything in the description because there is so much spices. Don't forget some garlic. I didn't have any extra garlic cloves and I don't use the ones from the pan. I leave those in there. So I do add some of this into here, but you can use garlic cloves as well. So again, everything will be in the description, but I'm gonna go ahead and add these seasonings in. And I use quite a bit. I like seasoning. And this is a large meal, so can't go wrong with seasoning. The only one I don't use a lot of is the cinnamon. You don't want a lot of cinnamon because you will taste the sweetness of I can't even say sweetness because there's no sugar to it, but just be cautious when adding your cinnamon. I do a little bit of that, just enough to give it a little bit of a fragrance. You can always add more spices later on too. This is just for now in the blender. Add a little more pepper. Okay, and then this cinnamon, so again, just a little bit. That's good. Now we're gonna go ahead and blend this. I'm gonna turn this part down so we don't hurt your ear. Strain this into our pot, so let me bring you over here. I'm gonna put these away really quick. So I forgot to add chicken bouillon in the blender. I just did it off camera. I'm so sorry. But throughout this cooking process, I will probably be adding some more chicken bouillon into this pan as it gives it some flavor, the more water that we're adding. So I have my strainer, which conveniently has a little lip to sit on top of my pan. And FYI, have some people that are sensitive to peppers in your house, this is the part where everybody will probably start coughing. It smells really good. All right, so we're gonna strain this into our water. Be careful as this juice, it stains clothes, obviously from the peppers. Okay, I am gonna work this in because we wanna make sure we get all this goodness into here. So I just do this for a while and I keep adding my juice. And once this is all empty, I do rinse out the blender with some water and I rinse it one more time through here. So I'll show you that here in a minute. Okay, so I added water to rinse this out and it ended up being a cup. So I'm gonna pour this in here. And then again, I'm just gonna work through this to get all the last bits of juice out. I have seen some recipes where they don't strain it and they just pour the blender content straight into the pot. I have had it that way. I don't see anything wrong with it, but I do see where you can kind of get like little flakes of pepper, like all this is going into your juice. So I do prefer the strain method now over just pouring it straight in. Throw this in the trash. All right, and then you're just gonna stir your little juice around here. So you can see it's this beautiful color. So we're gonna let this simmer for about 2 hours or until our meat is tender. Sometimes this can take 3-4 hours. It really just depends on how quick your meat turns tender. So, and I do leave it uncovered. We have a skillet here. Normally I would have like a griddle or a pancake, like a long one to make these on, but this is what I have for now. I do have this on a higher heat. I'm gonna spray it with some canola oil just so we can toast, warm up these little corn tortillas a bit here. Get started on the tortillas. I put my meat inside a bowl because I am going to be able to easily access this for the tacos. And then I get a little ramekin and I fill it with the juice so that when I am making these tacos, I can easily brush the juice on top as well. Like I said before, I would recommend bringing an apron or black because this stains clothes. So I've learned my lesson to just wear black clothes or my apron when I'm making these tacos. Got my handy dandy little brush so we can brush the sauce on top of our tortillas. Now that I have everything in order and our pan is hot, oh my dirty sink, we are going to start making these tacos. So start off with a little spray. And then I put, looks like I'm gonna make 2 on this guy. I recommend using this if you don't have nails because these pans get super hot, but I have my claws, so we're good. So I let them toast a little bit. And on this side. So once I have gotten each side at least touched, now I'm gonna go in with my juice and lather the first side up here. I have seen people dunk their tortillas inside the juice. You can definitely do that. This is just easier for me. This is how I like to do them. I do get this for this part. You want to make sure that these sit for a little bit because we are going to flip them and they're going to become nice and malleable. I like to also have my cheese readily available as well. So, not quite ready yet. You want them to be a little crispy, but not much. This comes with just practice, guys. So now it's good. So I'm gonna put a little cheese right here. is what gives it the outer crispy, cheesy crust. Then we're gonna brush them again with all that goodness. Okay.
You're a mess over here already. Look at it.
Okay, and then we're gonna put a little bit of cheese on here. This is gonna be the inside of our tacos. And then we're gonna grab a little bit of our meat. This is the part where you can decide how much meat you want to add to your tacos. I suggest starting out small because they are smaller tortillas. That's kind of how I go. Let them sit like this so the cheese gets cooked on the outside. This part takes patience because I don't have it. So you want to make sure you let them sit for a minute so that cheese on the outside can crispen up and the cheese right here can melt as well. This is the time where you can add onions and cilantro if you like, or you can wait and add cilantro and onion at the end. Alright, so it's been a few minutes. So this is my indicator. I kind of just check it like this. This one is ready to fold. So we're going to fold it over like this. And let it sit like that for a minute, and then I will flip it on the other side as well. So, sometimes it's gotta go the way it wants to fold. Alright, so it's been just a minute or two. Now I'm gonna flip. And our cheese is nice and solid. And that is how I make these tacos. That's delicious. Well, I have a little bit of grease. Let's start another one. And then you just continue this until they're all ready. Here's our sauce and our tacos. And just let me get one of these here and show y'all. So we dip the taco.